Good morning. Welcome to Beacon Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Summit, a community committed to being radically inclusive while feeding the human spirit and healing the world. We live into practices of anti-racism and anti-oppression, centering and listening to the marginalized voices, especially when what they have to say is hard for us to hear. My name is Jamaine Cripe, and I'm a member of your Lifespan Ministry team. Welcome to this time of worship. We gather to worship, our hearts alive with hope that here we will be truly seen, that here we will be welcomed into a greater community, where the simple and the elegant, the fluted and the frilled, the shy and the dramatic, the young and the seasoned complement one another and are treasured. Come, let us worship together, all genders, sexualities, expressions, politics, clappers and non-clappers, progressives, conservatives, atheists, theists, and all kinds of things that don't have a title. May we root ourselves in our values, the values of this faith: compassion, courage, transcendence and wonder, justice and transformation, and above all, love and laughter. May we know that here, each contribute in their own unique way to the beauty that is the whole of Beacon. Welcome to this circle of belonging, my friends. Welcome home.
Good morning, beloved, and good morning, beloved. Most beacons have multiple sources in order to make a strong light or signal. Even in Minecraft, you need 5 glass blocks to build a beacon. And so we gathered today for this rite of passage for our 5th graders with the knowledge of Ubuntu. I am because you are. We are because of one another. And the world, she needs light now, bearers of light, to form a greater beacon. We begin this morning by calling forth our 5th graders with their families who are making a rite of passage to light a single flame that will fuel the shared flame of our beacon, our chalice. Would Callum Catts come forward with your family? And Naya Facto and family. Shelby Lipman and family. Invite Kathy Menendez forward to light the candle for George Morgan, who will be here with us at our 11:15 service. And Devin Bejisingham and family. So it is, beloved, that our solitary, singular flames, the communities within this community, kindle now our beacon.
My name's Kathy Menendez. I serve as a chaplain here at Beacon, and as such, I help extend the caring in our community. Life is full of joy and sorrow, laughter and pain, struggle and celebration. Each week at Beacon, we endeavor to honor this fullness that our lives hold. We begin by placing our hand on our hearts. Feel it beating and feel our collective presence with you. If there is sorrow or struggle in your own heart, if you're holding a person or a place that is struggling, we invite you in a little bit to come forward and get a candle so we can hold them together. Today, we light a candle for each of these loved ones lost to members of our congregation. The grandmother of Jennifer and Henry and great-grandmother of Henry Scarter McCann just before her 98th birthday. The father of Madhura Chaco and the mother of Eric Paul. We also light a candle for those whose loved ones were killed, but during trials this week, those responsible were not held accountable. With each candle lit, may each of us know that we are held in the care and love of our community. But joy, beauty, and blessing are also all around us, beloved. Just last night, I had my 4 granddaughters over for dinner and a movie. And what a joy to witness our 5th graders and their families today. We know that this week has been filled with celebrations, birthdays, anniversaries, new beginnings, good endings, healing, and if this is you, snap your fingers. We celebrate today all of you who leaned into our mission, who brought a coat for a student at Chancellor Avenue School, who signed up for Summit Warm Hearts, who asked someone how they were and really wanted to know. For these gifts and for so much more, we give thanks.
Good morning. In our Lifespan program, we're committed to raising confident, compassionate, and resilient children and youth. Today, we get to see the development of the very goals in a select group of students, our fifth graders. Our fifth grade rite of passage is a program of discovery of one's beliefs, a time when our young tweens are just beginning to formally articulate their thoughts and ideas, poised on the cusp of individuation. Cognitively, they're moving into more abstract thinking, and their morality is becoming more nuanced. So for our 10 and 11-year-olds, this is a formal beginning of a lifelong journey of discovery, of thinking about and clarifying your values and beliefs. At this point in your life, our fifth graders are ready to take a more active role in their own spiritual development. And that is scary stuff. We don't often speak aloud as adults what we hold truly important. We UUs have opinions on everything from the brand of cereal we purchase to immigration reform. But usually, we restrict our audience to people who are small, select groups on social media or in real life. And oftentimes, we know they all agree with us. We kind of live in an echo chamber. We're very quick to say what we don't believe, but we very rarely speak about what we do believe because we're afraid that perhaps by doing so, we're imposing our beliefs on other people and risking a chance that they'll disagree with us. And it's even more rare that we put them down on paper and openly live them out in our everyday lives. Add all this to a layer of pandemic and, well, we're entering the realm of unimaginable bravery. But this is what our fifth graders are doing for us today. So sit back, get comfortable, because it's time to hear from these courageous young people.
Hello, my name is Callum Catts. The principle that speaks most to me is the seventh principle. It says, respect for the independent web of all existence of which we are part. It says we believe in caring for our planet Earth, the home we share with all living things. It speaks to me because it is important to help the ecosystem and to keep all the animals alive. If we don't have the ecosystems and the animals, we won't be able to survive. Pollution doesn't only affect the animals' ecosystems, it also affects our own. I love animals, so anytime I see an animal that could possibly be hurt, I try to help it however I can. If that's calling a vet or animal control to come help the animal, I will help it however I can. I give this principle when I eat a meal because I am vegetarian. This means I do not eat any kind of meat. This is important to me because I believe all animals have feelings and all animals have families. Also, do you really know what's in a sausage? Also, I also think about this principle when I'm picking up litter from a pond or on a hike.
Good morning. My name is Naya Facto. To me, principle number 2, be kind in all you do, is most important because if you are not kind, you could really hurt someone's feelings. I know how that feels. In 3rd grade, there was a new girl that seemed super nice until she started talking to me. This girl started doing mean things to me and yelling at me. I'd come home annoyed every day, and it got so bad that I got used to it. I don't know what I did, I would say. Did I do something wrong? At the time, I didn't know that people could just be so mean, but I also learned that sometimes people could be mean because they have something going on in their life. When I do something kind, it makes me feel very good. For example, if someone is hurt, I can help them. And if someone is feeling sad, I can comfort them. Helping someone or doing something kind makes me feel like I'm getting some sort of gift. It's true. It feels good to do something kind. Being kind also feels good to other people. Like you can make someone happy with kindness. Pretend everyone has a bowl of cereal and you have a full bowl of cereal and somebody else has none. What would you do? I would share mine because it would make me and the other person happy. In conclusion, I think you should always be kind in what you do so no one has to feel bad like I did. And it is important to be kind even if you do have something going on in your life.
Hi, my name is Shelby, And the principle that is most important to me is the first one. Every person is important. This principle is important because people are just people, and it doesn't matter what's on the outside. It's what's on the inside that's important. I think it is important to know all kinds of people. My first word was hi. Ever since then, I have been saying hi to everyone, to people of color, to people with special needs, to everyone, especially other kids. Sometimes I talk for a while, and sometimes it's just a quick hi. All of my friendships started that way, but sometimes people give me strange looks. Sometimes people think I'm not talking to them, and sometimes people think it's just plain weird. They'll just have to deal with it. I also say hi everywhere, even when it's not the nicest area. I was told by some people, don't say hi here, but I still do it. This practice is a way I follow my values. When I say hi to everyone, I put myself out there and get to know all kinds of people without judging them. I do this because I truly believe all people are important.
Hi, I'm George Morgan, and I believe that we should build a fair and peaceful world. I believe that this principle is so important because no one should be getting hurt, especially if they did nothing to deserve it. For example, the people in the Twin Towers were going to a normal day of work, expecting it to be just like a normal day, but instead it wasn't. A lot of people got killed and injured, and their families and communities were impacted. Their family may have gotten scared, and they were very sad. In a peaceful world, people would feel safe and less afraid, and maybe less likely to hurt each other. Just like when animals are afraid, they can be aggressive. When people are afraid, they can sometimes hurt each other. I think we could build a fair and peaceful world by being an upstander. When someone is bullying or being mean to someone, we can say, that's not right, or you shouldn't be doing that. It helps a person who is being mistreated knowing that someone has their back, and that there's hope for a fair and peaceful world. It is such an important Unitarian Universalist principle because it was a fair and peaceful world. A lot less people would get hurt, and people would be happier and feel safe. Thank you.
My name is Devin V. The principle that stands out to me the most is build a fair and peaceful world. I am specifically concerned about this because I think bullying is a serious issue. Bullying has hurt many people in both visible and invisible ways. Bullying isn't fair. Sometimes bullies get punished, but still go on hurting people. I've seen people get picked on because they are smart or can't protect themselves or aren't that strong. Bullying hurts everyone. Sometimes I've been able to protect myself from bullies by running away because I don't want to get hurt. But some people can't run away and may get hurt, and I want to prevent that. I have a friend who is constantly bullied. I saw him get pushed over and stepped on, and I wished I had more power to help him. In the future, I hope that bullying will be resolved and people won't get hurt any longer. I will try my best to convince other people that we should do more to fight bullying. We can convince schools and adults to take it more seriously because people are being hurt that shouldn't be. I hope we can do more to fight this issue and do more to build a peaceful and fair world in the future.
We have been honored today by the presence of our fifth graders in our virtual pulpit. After guiding them through their values clarification exercises, they've taken the first step in speaking their truth aloud. In 4 short years as ninth graders, they'll again stand before you and present a more thorough and detailed understanding of their beliefs as teens. And we'll dive even deeper into their personal beliefs and values with the end goal of empowering them to continue the spiritual journey as an adult Unitarian Universalist, having a place for the tools that they've learned and the discernment necessary to help them continue building their own theology and building the confidence for them to share their vision with the whole world. And so, adults, we invite you to answer these questions, to consider these as well. Which of our 8 principles speaks to you? Are you living these values aloud or just paying them lip service? May we remain open to what we discover about ourselves on this lifelong journey of discernment. And may we stand and make the sometimes uncomfortable changes that we have to make for each of us to mature as people of faith.
Would you join me in a moment of prayer, of contemplation, of quieting? Spirit of life, known by many names, we have gathered in a week of relief and heartache. Our hopes and fervent prayers lifted for Julius Jones and all families impacted by incarceration, by the criminal justice system. Our hearts break with the news that there will be no accountability, no justice for the families of Joseph Rosenbaum and Anthony Huber. We are a people. We are a people who believe fervently in the depth of love and in the possibility of healing, reconciliation, and forgiveness, and we know also that this righteous anger is rooted in centuries of injustice and the weariness of ages. Spirit of love, known by many names, in the midst of this heartache, in the midst of our troubled souls, we also find hope this day. We find hope in Callum, in Naya, in Shelby, in George and Devin. We rejoice at their journeys, their discoveries, their delights. Gracious Spirit, we affirm the beauty and diversity of humanity as we also recall and hold our transgender, non-binary, and queer siblings just a day after Transgender Day of Remembrance. May we each continue to seek that light in one another, to help each other to shine. Callum, Naya, Shelby, George, and Devin, we are because you are, and you are because we are. May you live out the truth of love that holds us beyond any conditions. May you be held, and so may we all, in safety, in grace, and may our world this day and the next know more justice and more love than it ever has before. So may we live, so may we be led. Amen.
My name is Tom Howard. I was a member of Beacon, then known as the Unitarian Church in Summit, for almost 20 years. From 2001 through 2003, and from 2010 until I moved to upstate New York in late 2012, I was Beacon's board.
We made them in classes at different times, but this is one you can take with you. Hang it in your room, hang it in your car, wherever you would like it to be placed, to remember that you always are on a spiritual journey, whether or not.
My name is Tom Howard. I was a member of Beacon, then known as the Unitarian Church in Summit, for almost 20 years. From 2001 through 2003, and from 2010 until I moved to upstate New York in late 2012, I was Beacon's board president, a job I thoroughly enjoyed. Emily now has asked me to talk about
His gift at 11:15. Shelby Lipman. And Devin Vijayasingham. Thank you. Many blessings on the journey.
My name is Tom Howard. I was a member of Beacon, then known as the Unitarian Church in Summit, for almost 20 years. From 2001 through 2003, and from 2010 until I moved to upstate New York in late 2012, I was Beacon's board president, a job I thoroughly enjoyed. Emily now has asked me to talk about what inspired me here. Always, My inspiration came from the people and from the opportunities to contribute, to further the congregation's mission. In 1995 or so, when this sanctuary was a freestanding church building with an aging house next door for offices and the RE program 2 blocks up on the corner of Summit Avenue, I was drawn into failed plans to actually move the physical church building up to the Summit Avenue lot. Then, as we approached our second century, I co-led the capital campaign to sell that lot and to erect this building that we're now in. Once I looked for things to do, the people here were always encouraging, welcoming, and appreciative. Thanks to the people here, I realized I had talents I'd never known I had. And I learned how to sing on key. I discovered a spiritual dimension and delivered several summer sermons. The professional staff was always encouraging, supportive, and awesomely talented. The congregation grew. We needed more room. In 2010, I attended my first General Assembly. I met a stewardship author named Michael Doral and bought 2 of his books. I was inspired by his vision of leading an active, engaged, and exciting congregation. On the flight back to Newark, I sketched out a plan to present to the board at my first meeting, as my first meeting as president that year, which plan provided the foundation for what we as the board did that year and the next year. That included the purchase of the funeral home that we hoped would solve our building needs. Later in 2012, I was called on to move on, so I was never able to cross the river to that promised land. But I have always missed the fellowship and all my friends here, and I always will. This is truly a special place. The truth is that we create this community called Beacon together, you and me, all of us. Our mission comes alive through our relationships, our voices, our leadership, and our gifts. Now we move into a time when we give generously to support making that mission come alive in our lives and in the world. In a minute, you'll see ways to contribute to Beacon. We invite you to lean into this practice of generosity. I know firsthand it makes a difference, a big difference. Thank you.
Discerning your truth is hard work. And then sharing that truth with the wider world, even an incredibly friendly audience like Beacon. It takes some courage, beloved. So I want to say thank you to Callum, to Shelby, to Naya, to George and Devin. Thank you so much for your courage today to share some of your truth with us. And thank you to Jamaine and Dr. Tooley for your ministry with our 5th graders. Sharing your truth and listening for the spiritual truths of others, these are core spiritual practices as Unitarian Universalists. I want to tell you a story, a brief story about truth-telling this morning. Several months ago, Senator Joe Manchin was needing support for some bills he was pushing, and the fact that he had said he would support voting rights, but he was pulling back that support. So he went to a prominent church in Charleston and its pastor, Pastor Paul Dunn. He asked Pastor Dunn to make an ad for him stating his support. Senator Manchin told Pastor Dunn that the bills he was supporting would expand voting rights, and there were just a few little compromises to be made, but it would all work out. Shortly after Pastor Dunn made this ad, it aired at the WVU football game. Thousands and thousands of West Virginians and soon people across the country watched Pastor Dunn support Senator Manchin. After the ad aired, Senator Manchin went on the public record saying that folks in West Virginia, including poor and low-wage workers, well, they didn't really need a living wage because that would give them a sense of entitlement. This made Pastor Dunn angry. He knew church members, friends, and family who were hurting and needed those living wages. He started to look into the bills that Senator Manchin was pushing forward as well, and he was very disheartened to find out that the support and words he had said in that ad were not, in fact, true. What do you do when you learn an inconvenient truth? When your conscience calls you to speak? On Sunday, I went to Washington, D.C. to meet with Pastor Dunn. He decided that the next day he would publicly speak at a press conference that would air for thousands and millions of people, where he would say that what he said in that ad was not true and that he disagreed with Senator Manchin. After the press conference, 16 of us, including Pastor Dunn, went to Senator Manchin's office. We had called, we had texted, we had sent emails, hard copy letters, all asking Senator Manchin to come meet with his people. He refused. And so we went to his office in the hopes that he would come out. Not only did he not come out, but the police arrested us for nonviolent moral direct action. As we stood in that line waiting for the police to process us and to be released, I looked at Pastor Dunn's face, and that's when I was surprised. I saw not only relief, beloved, but joy. So often we talk about truth-telling only in how hard it is, and it is hard, and it does take courage. But also, it is through truth-telling that we find love, healing, and even joy. Our faith is drawn from a long line of truth tellers or heretics, those who chose by their conscience, who discerned what is right and good. That's the origin of the word heresy, to choose. Again and again, sometimes in terrifying times, against the powers and principalities and popularity of the day, they insisted upon sanctuaries and societies where freedom of conscience could be exercised. Not just for individual freedom, but as our fifth graders reminded us, so that our communities, our world would be safer, more loving, and open to ongoing revelation. You see, truth-telling and bearing witness to someone else's truth, these are acts of love. We are fast approaching Thanksgiving, a holiday that is filled with, I hope, good food, but also stories that we know are not true. A part of holding history, which is this month's theme, is seeking the truth and sharing it. I hope for you, surely, the warmth of loved ones and shared meals, the sweetness of memory around you this Thanksgiving holiday. And I hope that you will join in our beacon by holding history, by telling the stories of Indigenous peoples who live wherever you are gathered, learning how to support the work within Indigenous communities in that area, whether it's language schools, cultural teaching, or struggle for Indigenous sovereignty. If you are here in New Jersey, it is likely you will be on land of the Ramapo Lenni Lenape, the Nanticoke, and the Powhatan. Learn the stories of the people who still are living in this land, and learn that this truth-telling, not of a false peace, but this truth-telling truly is what gives us a future. We're going to drop some resources in the chat for you to do just this work this Thanksgiving season. I want to thank, in a season of gratitude, Callum, Naya, Devin, Shelby, and George. Thank you for reminding us of the spiritual practice of discerning truth, sharing it, and bearing witness. I pray that you never have to face the thousands after you realize words you have said were wrong, or you change your mind and have to face the fear of a cold, unforgiving world. But if you do face that world, dear ones, remember the warmth of this beacon around you. Remember that the endurance of this flame of generations of heretics can light the way. Remember that on the other side of your truth-telling and bearing witness to truth, there is love, always more love, and even joy.
Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to bridges, will you reach out to visions? I reach out to you, will you reach out to visions? With all of our voices, such sweet harmonies. Building bridges, such sweet harmonies. I reach out to bridges, will you reach out to visions? I reach out to voices, will you reach out to visions? I reach out to voices, such sweet harmonies. Building bridges, sweet heart and visions. I reach out to bridges, will you reach out to visions? I reach out to voices, will you reach out to visions? I reach out voices, sweet heart and visions. Friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
Beacon, I'm inspired. Are you inspired? Inspired by the words of our fifth graders as they take this great leap into their future, their rite of passage. We give thanks for their voices this day, and our inspiration we take out into the world. We carry within us, in our hearts, in order to live our deepest beliefs, our values out in the world, bringing heaven here on earth. So may it be.